Hey guys, it's John from the Visicast. I am joined by Aceface.
Hello,
you
hello.
can check out his YouTube channel, it's in the description below, although you probably recognise him anyway, let's be honest. But we are here, we've just finished a battle report, absolutely amazing battle report between Ravenwing and Tyranids. So if you haven't watched that, please go watch it. It's so close.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting, but it was absolutely amazing to watch. Really good. You can watch it on both of our channels, so make sure you check it out. Really good game. But right now, we're going to talk about your Tyranid army that you used in that battle report.
Yeah.
The models are really, really nicely painted. Like I've seen them before on Tabletop Tactics and obviously on Aceface's channel. But I didn't realise, when I saw them in person, I was like, whoa, like they are really, really nice. And I just wanted to show them off because they're quite nice. And there's some really, really interesting stories about them. Really interesting.
Yeah.
So let's start out, let's just talk about it. You said so many things. So how you started out with the scheme, you were originally doing a bone red scheme?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if you check out like my archives, you'll find the 25,000 points of painted Tyranids. So that's one if you want to see the whole army in itself. I showcase the whole, everything I've painted, which is quite cool in itself. But I started doing Tyranids probably about, I don't know, maybe just over 5 years ago. And I started with High Fleet Kraken, as quite a lot of people do. Went into Games Workshop, looked like quite an easy colour scheme, quite liked it, preferred it to some of the other ones, and kind of just got on board with it. Started painting, and anyone that's kind of played Tyranids or painted Tyranids knows you get to kind of almost a bit of a burnout when you're painting, particularly the little gaunts, over and over again. And I got to a stage where I actually just got fed up. I liked Tyranids, I wanted to carry on playing, but I was just sick and tired, one, of seeing the colour scheme all the time with other people doing it. And at the time when my painting skill was not as good as, it's not great, but when it wasn't as good, I wasn't happy with how it compared to some of the other High Fleet Kraken, so I wanted to kind of create my own colour scheme. So I was just kind of trawling eBay, looking at all sorts of things to try and get inspiration for a colourway. And I was just kind of trawling eBay one evening, and I saw what is to be a High Fleet Voro colour scheme, which is my vibrant blue and green and grey scheme. And somebody was just selling a Carnifex. So I kind of saw it, thought that looks great. I wouldn't mind grabbing that Carnifex. It wasn't that expensive at the time because it's quite a unique colour scheme. I thought I'll grab that and maybe I'll have a go at copying it. So I bought it, and the owner of it was a commission painter. So Fauna Miniatures, check her out, put her in the search, you'll find her. But Sarah does very, very vibrant coloured miniatures. So she was talking to me through the transaction, as some eBayers do, and kind of just said, yeah, this is what I want to do, great, happy days. And that was kind of it. And time went by where I just copied and replicated the colour scheme over and over again until I kind of got to my 25,000 points of painted Tyranids. And even a little bit after that, I still didn't really think much of it until kind of 6 months ago, when I thought, actually, I wouldn't mind showing Sarah what I'd kind of done. So I went onto her Facebook page and kind of sent her a link to the 25,000 points of Tyranids. And she straight away, she messaged me back and she was like, I'm in tears, like looking at that video. I can't believe that one like Tyranid made all that, and she was absolutely touched. She didn't know of the YouTube channel, so then she went over, she saw a bit of it, and she was like, that's fantastic. So she said to me, you know, how about I paint something else for you? And I was like, well, why not? Well, that'd be stupid not to. So I sent her a flyrant, which you'll see one of the flyrants maybe coming along now, potentially. You might see it now on the screen. And one of the flyrants you see is a slightly different tone. The details are a little bit finer because she's still an amazing artist, and this was kind of to her top level. But she painted that for me. But yeah, that's kind of where the colour scheme kind of came from. Yeah, I did a subscriber competition about 3 years ago, and that was where the name came from. So Voro means the devourer in Latin, so it kind of fits as well, particularly as I take a lot of like hive tyrants with twin-linked devourers, because you love them.
I hate them.
So that's the kind of story of High Fleet Voro, and since then I've had a few other people that kind of now started a High Fleet Voro army, which is the most flattering thing ever for anybody to have your kind of High Fleet copy. But that's it. But yeah, that's the story.
And there are a few other minor details, like for example, you bought a model and you were trying to wash it, you're trying to set it bang or whatever, wash off all the paint to start repainting.
Yeah.
That was another flyrant, right?
Yeah, so one of the flyrants we should kind of nickname Face. The Hive Tyrant mouth comes in two pieces, and this was quite a lot more recently. So I decided to up the level of my Tyranids by kind of getting a bit more pinstripe, getting a bit sharper, because again, your painting gets better through the years. So I thought, as I use the Florence all the time, I wanted to kind of paint them up again. As I was stripping one down to repaint it, half the face came off, and I completely forgot, didn't even notice it. And it's only afterwards I realised it had gone down the sink and I'd lost it. Rifling through the bits box, couldn't find anything. So I thought, well, our green stuff, like almost like a half-eaten, like blasted off face. And it's kind of giving it a little bit of character, so it's quite a nice little touch. Kind of adds a bit of narrative as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And you were talking, so you go to a lot of tournaments.
Yes.
Including things like No Retreat, which we both applied for.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. And also LVO, all the way to Las Vegas. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you're currently trying to work your way up.
Yes.
The ETC ladder.
ITC.
ITC, sorry.
Yeah. So if you haven't sort of heard about it, so the ITC is, it was created in the US. It's a league system, so you can kind of, if your tournaments are ITC, all your results are logged, and then go into a massive league. And there are faction leagues within that. So unless you're kind of an absolute top tier, amazing player, you might struggle to kind of hit those dizzy heights of, like, you know, top 5, or even try and win the ITC outright. It's achievable, but generally they're players that play week in, week out, real dedicated tournament players playing at the highest level. But if you take a codex like Tyranids, or some of the other lesser codexes that potentially are a lot less powerful and a lot less in favour, if you do okay, so you finish in the top 5, you can get a few runner-ups, potentially even win a tournament. If you're really, really lucky, you play your socks off, you can actually rank quite highly on there. So I've got kind of 3 tournaments logged at the moment. In fact, one's kind of pending, but it will be 3 on there, which will put me kind of in the top 15, top 10, with another 3 tournaments going, including one of the ones that we're going to very, very soon in Norwich. There's a chance that I could get a really top finish with Tyranids, which was my dedication to my subscribers LVO last year. I kind of said after that, I wish I bought the Tyranids. I'm going to try and go back for you guys and try and bring it home for the Tyranids. So fingers crossed. I'm on a bit of a losing streak at the moment, but that's not a bad place to be. That's practice. So you go into the tournaments and you've made your mistakes before. Yeah, exactly. So fingers crossed we can get, if I get a top 5 place for the world for Tyranids, I'd be extremely proud. So that's got to be the target.
Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed looking at the army and a bit of the backstory about it. As I've said before, head over to Aceface's channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and obviously press subscribe on our videos as well. We have loads of other videos. We do battle reports. The one we did with Aceface's Tyranids is absolutely incredible, so please make sure you watch that. We have the Worst 40k player series, which is a series of short videos, comedy videos, which are quite good. And we also have loads of other showcase videos, including a series we did around Golden Demon winner Martin Waller. So you can check those out as well. There's one more thing I wanted to add, actually, which has just come to mind. The gaunts you have that get birthed.
Yes.
You've done them in like a slime, so it looks like they've just been birthed.
Yeah.
Which looks such a nice touch.
It's more for players, so they're actually quite a rush job, if I'm being brutally honest. But they look very effective on the board. They're kind of reversed from the rest of the colour scheme, and it's just so when you're birthing gaunts all over the place, your opponent that you're playing has a nightmare trying to keep track of what unit's what. So if you've got a break in that unit by having a different colourway, and particularly if it's kind of themed and it doesn't kind of fall out of place with the rest of the army, it kind of works, so it helps. But yeah, a lot of people have complimented me on them, but actually, to be really honest, they are a pretty quick, easy job to do. Just a little bit of glue and a little bit of gloss coat, and happy days. But
Looks like they're covered in slime.
It does.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Cheers.